2025 NFL Draft Prospect Profiles, Armand Membou, offensive lineman out of Missouri. And he is a mauler. He's a dog. He's a pancake specialist. Drives through every single play, and man, he's going to make some team very, very happy. Problem is, for the Bears, he plays right tackle. The Bears have a lockdown player in Darnell Wright, and he reminds me a lot of Darnell Wright at the right tackle position. Now you can say you can move him to left tackle, you can move him to right guard, you can move him to other positions. Right guard's the most lucrative position in free agency this year, so the Bears will probably fill that spot. Well, can you switch into the other side? Well, your footwork has to change. Things have to be different. It's not an easy move. It could happen if they fall in love with him and if he's willing. It's not that it's impossible. It's just not something you try to do with someone who has established at the right side. I was high on Mr. Membou very early on. This slide is outdated. This is from December, right when the NCAA season ended. And he was projected somewhere in the 50s to 60s range, and I was very high on him. I wanted the Bears to take him. My very, very first mock draft of this season had the Bears trade back from 41, pick up 47 and a fourth rounder, and we picked up Armand Membou. And this is what I projected. I need to go back to the old ways because I'm liking this old one more and more. So this is from the very beginning. Braxton Jones, Tev Jenkins, Jared Wilson is the center, Kevin Zeitler, Darnell Wright, but then as backups, Trent Brown, Armand Membou, Wyatt Milam, Coleman Shelton, and Kiran Amagaji. So, no, I'm not saying this is the preference, but I don't think you can get both Wyatt Milam and Armand Membou. Both of them should be projected somewhere around the first round in this draft now. In fact, if we look at the consensus of where they stand, you can see this is updated now. This is last updated as of 2/12. A lot has changed. He was in the Senior Bowl. He got all his measurements there. So 6'4", 332 pounds. So heavier than what they had listed before. They had him listed at 315. Did he have a growth spurt? Did he put on muscle? Those are things I want to see at the combine. I want to see how he tests out. But this last year, you can see he had a phenomenal year. Among the best in total offensive blocking grades, run blocking grades, and pass blocking grades. Only 9 pressures of all the weakest variety on 411 pass blocking opportunities. And again, at the Senior Bowl, you can see he graded out here. These are all the things, but they come from over here. This is great how he measured, measured out at the Senior Bowl. 6'3" and 3/5, basically 6'4" is his height, and that's really the only knock from him playing right tackle or tackle in the NFL level is his height, because his kick slide, his base is among the very best in this draft class. Other than his height, he would be absolutely probably the best tackle in this draft class. So a lot of high upside on this kid. Very excited to watch his tape. I'll pull that on in just a minute. But as I said, all the things about him. His arms are a little bit short, 34 inches, but that's very common for this draft class. And 34 is not the range where you can't play tackle. That's kind of right where that magic number is, that line where you need to at least have 34 inches. And you say the same thing about, some of these other guys, Will Campbell, Kevin Bates, all that. But Armand Membou has a true base. Like, he's not getting pushed around by anybody. He's stacked, and he looks really good on paper. Membou can definitely go at the top of the first round. You can see some places have him. Let's see. Sports Illustrated has him at 11. Todd McShay has him at 14. NFL.com has him 17. On and on and on down. Mock Draft Database at 20. PFF 23rd. Draft Tech 27th. I think he'll go probably somewhere in this 20 to 30 range. If the Bears trade down and they feel like he could be the answer at right guard, I wouldn't be opposed to that one bit. It's just I really think when free agency hits, right guard is going to get tackled because there's so many good options at right guard compared to left guard. We'll probably look at the draft more for left guard. Could transition over there. Again, hard to change footwork. Not impossible if you love his mentality and you love how he plays. Not at all impossible for him to do that. His scouting report from Draft Buzz says that he's super athletic. He did make Bruce Feldman's 2023 freak list. Bruce Feldman wrote about him that he's 6'3", 320 pounds. Now, obviously, we know he's bigger, 332 pounds. Only 18% body fat, so a very low number for a young offensive lineman that big. Membou also moves exceptionally well for that size, and he does. Watch him on tape here. His kick slide, his ability to get out, especially in screens and the run game. He moves very efficiently Every move is just calculated, and I mean he hustles. He doesn't look slow. You saw his 40 time there. It's in the blue. Very very quick. So he's going to be someone that should shine at the combine next week as well. They also say he has masterful body control, allowing him to mirror pass rushers with unusual fluidity. He stays balanced through contact and shows sophisticated understanding of leverage points in pass protection. That's one thing you really notice about him that pops out on tape is his base. He does not get pushed back at all. He's the one that's staying firm. He leans into guys properly. He doesn't over leverage himself. He doesn't get out in front of himself. He doesn't lunge. He just has a really solid base. So he can play tackle. If he moves to the inside, I see him only being stronger. I don't see many pressures being allowed against him in the NFL. They also say he brings serious pop on initial contact with powerful independent hand strikes, regularly stuns defenders, and can anchor against bull rushes despite giving up height to most edge players. Now, if he moves to the inside, his height is very average. 6'3", 6'4" is very average for a guard, so it won't be a negative for him on the inside. He processes stunts and blitzes with veteran savvy, showing exceptional mental processing to sort through complex pressures without getting baited out of position. There's a lot of positives here they have to say about him. There's not a lot of negative whatsoever. So the summary for him, they say Membou's tape reveals a tackle prospect with clear NFL traits, though his projection comes with both promise and risk. His movement skills stand out immediately. The fluidity and pass protection and explosive reach blocks demonstrate high-end athletic ability. Zone-heavy offenses like San Francisco, Miami, and Los Angeles can maximize his mobility, though he'll need refinement to consistently execute at the next level. Well, that's every prospect. They all need consistency to be, NFL caliber guys. So they put teams must weigh his considerable upside against the historical challenges of a sub 6'4" tackle in the NFL. Again, like I'm saying, my proposal, and many of them have said this, is move him into guard, and that's not a concern. His athleticism and football IQ suggests starter potential, particularly in a scheme that emphasizes movement over pure power. The development timeline likely requires patience as he adapts to the NFL edge defenders, but his ceiling remains intriguing for teams willing to invest in his technical growth. A year of development could help bridge the gap between his natural gifts and the demands of the position. Now, if the Bears want to move him out to tackle, it's not the easiest thing to switch the footing, to go from right side to left side. We've seen that with several people, with Kevin Jenkins, with Matt Pryor, whenever we move someone around. But it's not impossible either. So if you want to do that and you want to say, well, you'll get some experience at left guard and possibly move out to left tackle next year with Braxton Jones being gone, I don't think it's an impossible thing to do. I also don't think it's ideal. And there's so many good options in this draft. I don't think the Bears should necessarily settle for Armand Membou. But if we had a need for a right tackle in this draft, or a right guard, if it wasn't such a heavy right guard free agency, I'd probably be pounding the table for Armand Membou more than anybody else, because he's that good of a prospect with that solid of a base. And Bears needs some of those guys with a base on the team. So I really like him. I think he's a great prospect. I think he's going to do well at the next level. I think he's going to project well to whatever team he goes to. So it'll be interesting to see where he does end up going. If he ends up falling in this range, 20 and 30. If the Bears trade back, if they end up getting someone like him, or in the same range, Tyler Booker or Walter Nolan, or so many guys in this range. So I just like him. I think he's a good prospect. Tell me what you guys think about Armand Membou, though. Obviously, probably not the best fit for the Bears system with what they need right now, but I think he's a really intriguing prospect, and I won't be shocked if the Bears if they trade back, if they end up taking him, because he's such a good talent on the offensive line. He's got such a good base, and he's so quick and agile. He fits a good scheme to be able to run and have pass pro. So be good to watch him, and we'll see him next week in the Combine. So until next time, the Bears, and bear down.